Hey folks, this is Best in Slot with what should be a very speedy little dev diary for October 2021, Prehistoric Kingdom, the first one post the change to how devlogs are going to work. Now they're going to focus more on just providing updates, providing information where necessary. They don't necessarily have to be huge and all-encompassing, so a little bit less information, but we should see them a little bit more regularly, hopefully. And let's get started anyway. So first things first, this is all about the beta, really, and modules are going to be coming to the beta. Now modules, so like these shop modules, for example, the idea is that you've got the module and you can either have it looking like, oops, I've clicked the wrong layer. You can either have it looking like this, or including the whole thing. And you can then build around it, and it will still register as a shop module. Your guests will know to walk over to that point and order from either Sweet Tooth, which has this amazing looking evil cupcake logo, which I absolutely love, or Tiny's. And Tiny is I don't know what Tiny is, a kangaroo that's been hit by a steamroller. I honestly have no idea what animal Tiny is meant to be. Could not tell you. It looks like a mammal or some description, God knows. Anyways, the point is you'd build around these modules and then they would act as shops. You can then save them, use them in your other parks, upload them online. Won't have Steam Workshop integration quite yet, but that will obviously come down the line. The point is simply that you can customize these, make these into your own shops, essentially. And there will be 4 of these in the beta, if I recall correctly. Now, next up we have the new map that we're going to be playing on in the beta. I don't know if the tropical map is disappearing, but I know the Scrubland map is being added. It's the same size as the tropical map, which you'll remember was pretty ginormous, really wasn't an issue in terms of lack of size, definitely won't be a problem. And it is worth noting that these trees here are, I believe, tropical trees still, hence the lusciousness. And they will obviously be replaced by Scrubland trees when we actually get hold of the map when beta hits. I believe the view distance has been improved somewhat as well. You can really sort of feel that here, and it looks great. Again, this looks very, I don't know why I'm circling this, because it's bloody mountains, you can see them. They're fairly large, that's what mountains do. But it gives me Isla Nublar vibes. A lot of things do, but whenever I see these kind of these striated sort of mountain ranges that look like this and they kind of crack the sky like that, it makes me think of Isla Nublar, and that's not a bad thing to evoke at the end of the day. And yeah, it's a really, really good looking map. Very excited to try it out. It would be a bit silly to do that without some foliage though, so let's check out our new Scrubland foliage. We have the Aleppo Pine, which is very Scrubland in appearance. It's still got a decent amount of leafy coverage. It's very green and floofy, but it's not over the top. It's not quite as lush. I hate the word lush, but I use it all the time. It's not quite as lush as the tropical ones. And we've got 5 different size variants, as you can see. This is my favourite already. I always love these short to the ground ones that then split off into several trunks in this game, in PZ, and like every game that does this kind of thing. But these are very indicative of what Scrubland foliage looks like. It's, you know, grey in the trunks, a little bit less moist looking, a little bit more arid. This is a subtropical region, still fairly lush and a little bit wiry, you know, a little bit hardier looking in its foliage, and you kind of get that with all of that. With the Norfolk Island Pine, good old Norfolk, eh? Is it from Norfolk? Maybe it's from Norfolk. I've been to Norfolk. Anyway, again, grey in the trunks and good leaf coverage, but not. That's about as a descriptor as I can come up with. It's good, but it's not. Love the little tree down here. Very cute. And we also have the returning, I believe, foxtail palms, which have a Scrubland variant. Again, greyish, slightly less leafy, blah 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 blah. All together, they should come up together to make a really cool looking environment. We'll have to see how it all plays out together and, you know, closer down to the ground and all that kind of jazz. Now, we are very near the end already. Crazy. We've got a little bit of reading to do. I don't want anyone to panic. You don't have to read. I'll read it out, or you can read along. We can learn how to read together. Fantastic. Beta information and a roadmap. Deep breath. Unlike Alpha, our roadmap for Beta includes content updates up until early access launch. Our goal is to add new features while getting direct feedback and thoughts from the community. Of course, this support will continue post-EA launch as well. So before we carry on, first thing to mention with this first para then is basically what they just... That's not how you do that. How do you do that again? There's like a thing people do. I used to do it. It's like that, right? No, that's not it either. I've forgotten. Like that, right? Yeah. Sorry. The alpha, I should say. The alpha came out, and we did get a couple of updates to the alpha, but they were quite small. The most noticeable one I can remember was the addition of the chain link modular fence thingamajiggy. It sounds like for the beta, it's going to be more of a continuous update. It's more like the beta will update over and over and over and over again until it's basically the same as the initial early access launch, I would assume. So like the final beta version and the first early access version will probably be quite similar, whereas the start of the beta and the start of early access will be quite different. So that's really exciting for me as a YouTuber and as a human who likes dinosaurs and as a human who likes Prehistoric Kingdom, just in that we get to see it develop over time. We're going to get new dinosaurs added, we're going to get new maps added, we're going to get new mechanics added, something to keep us coming back over and over again, which is thumbs up. Let's move on. In terms of what you can expect to see day one, not much has changed from our public beta announcement. That's what we went through last time. There's some larger mechanics that have been pushed to updates, but most of those hadn't been announced yet. If you're expecting to play a more robust version of Alpha with new features like excavations, science points, modular recolouring, and enhanced economy and power management, we think you'll have a good time with the initial release. That said, here's a quick glimpse at a handful of new things coming during beta updates. We'll take a look at that in just a momento. But yeah, so a lot more of the actual mechanics that make it a game rather than just sort of a sandbox thing where the guests don't where the guests don't matter. Those will be part of the beta. We're going to go on excavations to dig up dinosaurs, and that's how we're going to get new skins and stuff. We're going to spend science points on research. Modular recolouring is obviously a really big deal to us as builders. We want to recolour the objects we use to be a little bit more creative. And, worrying about things about power management and economy, things we could ignore in the past. And now I'm assuming this will launch with Sandbox in that we can turn all that off if we want to. We'll have to wait and see, but that would be the hope. But let's check what's going to get added during the beta, because there's some cool stuff. So, beta release over here. I'll give it a hat, so you know it's important. Only important things wear hats. So these are some of the things that are going to come during the beta. I don't think this is meant to be in a specific order or anything like this, just things you should expect. This needs a pointy bit, there you go. Management, guest welfare and heat maps. So you will actually need shops and toilets and things to look after your guests. Exhibit cleaning, and new module mechanics like visibility and navigation. So if we think back to this over here, this is what's called a module, as you can see in the top left. Tinies and Sweet Tooth, that's a shopping module, and the modules factor in, I think it's like 8 different categories. There's shopping, and there's navigation, and there's science, and stuff like that. And the idea is we'll have a visibility module, and maybe it'll be something like this. It'll just be like, maybe it'll just be like a pane of glass, or it'll be like a box room. If you think of like a viewing gallery in, say, Jurassic World Evolution. And it'll be quite simple, kind of in the way that these shops are not a full shop. It's just, the module of the interior. And then what you can do, you can build all the stuff. Don't know why you'd make it look like this, but let's say you wanted a really spiky one. You can build all the stuff around this viewing module, and it would still act like a viewing module. Guests would still walk into it and view dinosaurs from it. So it's going to give us incredible customizability. That was hard to say. To just make our own attractions in a very real, very exciting way, in a way that I've never seen done in a video game, to be completely honest with you. I've never seen anyone do it before. So I'm very excited about that as an idea. What I'm really hoping for is like a viewing tower one, which I know is planned. So you'd have like, say like a dome with like an elevator in it or something like that, and there'd be a viewing area to look at there. This looks like Pingu, actually. Noot. But it would be very, very basic, and then you can build a tower around it, and eventually, hopefully, we'll have Steam Workshop integration for that, and if you don't want to build your own, obviously there'll be ones provided, and you can steal them from other people. Animals! Animal welfare will be added, so not in a release. Dinos will just wander around and not die, but eventually you'll have to look after them. 4 more species to be added, 18 total during beta, which I think is lower than was planned. I believe the plan was 21 or 22, but I could be misremembering. That might have changed a while ago, and I don't have a working memory. They'll also develop new social behaviours like herding and fleeing, which will be cool, because at the moment the dinosaurs don't really interact as a whole. They look fantastic and they're beautifully animated and sound beautiful, but they don't feel real, and it's these little behaviours that'll bring that in a little bit more. And creativity, new scenery and modular pieces, probably these ones here, we've seen these before, this kind of, I can't remember what they called the set, but it's, thatched roofs and fire and lots of wood. It's got kind of like a tropical beachy kind of theme, very cool. New biomes and foliage, and the new map. temperate, so at some point during the beta, we'll have a whole new map to explore and build a whole new park on, which is pretty cool as well. So I'm really excited about this. You know, this stuff, let's say this stuff here isn't here initially, the scenery and modular pieces. Beta comes out, we make a park for all the dinosaurs, we have fun. They add 4 more species, we expand the park. Then they add new pieces, we go build a new park focused on using those pieces. It's kind of the way you treat, say, Planet Zoo when it gets an expansion. I know I mention these games a lot, but they are similar. You know, it gets an expansion, it adds new modular pieces, you go build a new zoo. So we can kind of do that throughout the beta, and it's going to keep it a lot more interesting. I've not played a lot of PK lately because I'm trying to not burn myself out in a game that I intend to play for a very, very long time. But also because the alpha is the alpha, it didn't change much during the alpha for obvious reasons. But the beta, updates. I love updates. Final thing then, we're going to read the state of development. Let's talk about the game's budget and where we've been. We've been rather quiet on our social accounts, which isn't quite like what you're used to. To start, production definitely slowed over the last few months as we started to feel the squeeze of the funding available to us. This wasn't an unexpected issue given how long we've been going for, which is about 8 years at this point. but it's certainly been a reminder to not shoot for perfection. There were a few unannounced features we wanted at beta's launch, but they soon became unrealistic given the circumstances and our team size, but they will come back as updates during beta, which if I'm honest as a YouTuber is actually better. But for you guys probably not. But it is what it is. We've since resolved our budgeting issues, hooray, and are now looking for additional talent to join the team and help develop Prehistoric Kingdom. Opportunities here, folks. If you're interested in working with us, keep an eye out on our social pages in the next few days. Any of you aspiring game developers, talented people, want a job working for PK, that would be very cool. Go check out their Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of jazz. As a whole, we're expecting production speed to pick up significantly over the next year now that we can work more comfortably and afford to pay for more people's time. We very much want to get the game out so people can play it and give us the necessary feedback to improve it. After all, it is still an early access title and should be treated as such, which is very true. So from this, I get the vibe that they were maybe a little ambitious and they wanted the beta to be this incredible thing, and maybe they want to launch into early access with basically everything done. But it's early access, you know, we accept with early access titles, they should be playable, they should be enjoyable, there should be content there, but we expect some things to be missing, we expect some things to be added over time, and it's okay, and I think generally speaking most people accept that, and if they don't, they can wait for the full release, of course, that's the whole idea. It gives you the option. So it sounds good, and it's good that they've got the funding. I wonder if they went to the publisher, Critivo, and sorted that out, I don't know, but either way, the budgeting issues have been fixed, they can now hire more talent, production can ramp up once again. It is worth mentioning, if you're a fan of Prehistoric Kingdom, you've not managed to buy the game in the alpha or beta, so you have to wait for the early access release. If you go onto Steam and throw them a wish list, it might not seem like a big deal, but let's say they need more funding in the future, they want to, you know, go to a fund investor, as they would be known, not a fund person. They want to go to investors and say, you know what, we'll give you a certain percentage, blah, 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 give me money. The more wish lists they have, the bigger that wish list is, the better the chances are they'll get funding from various sources. Because they can say, yo, look at these billions of people trying to buy our game, you should give us money and then you'll get more money. You know what I mean? So if you want to support PK and you can't do it directly via money at the moment because you can't, go and wishlist the game on Steam. It's a very, very quick thing you can do that will probably help them out a little bit potentially. Right, I'm done. That actually took way longer than expected. I just felt like talking a lot today. That's it from me. That's it from the devlog. I'll link this down below if you want to check it out for yourselves. There's a couple of community images down there which are pretty cool. But that's about it. Beta very soon. We'll keep you up to date with that right here on the channel. Of course, we'll be playing the bejeebers out of it when it does launch. Until then, thank you very much for joining me, my lovely ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Throw me a like if you enjoyed this video. Cheers, much love, as always. Deep breath. Bye-bye.